So I wanted to wait a little bit to talk about this. In the aftermath of the horrific mass shooting that was in Minneapolis, so many people jump on top of it. Whenever something like this happens, people jump on top of it because they want to get the clicks, they want to get the attention, and I just find that gross. I didn't want to make it about myself or what I thought. I didn't want to come across as if I was trying to take advantage of the fact that it was quote-unquote newsworthy or viral, because I honestly think the only thing you can do in the aftermath of any kind of shooting like that is pray for the victims and pray for an end to such horrific, terrible evil. I cannot imagine what the parents of the children killed are going through and what the children who are hurt are going through and will probably go through for the rest of their lives. It's the kind of evil that none of us should ever have to experience, but it's the kind of evil that exists all over the world, not just in America. It is truly a global problem. There's evil in the human heart that we will never actually fully vanquish, and it's something we need to unfortunately accept in order to combat it. But I had two things I wanted to say. I think the first is that it's really disheartening and disgusting to watch in the immediate aftermath of things like this. People on both sides politicize it. You hear people on the right always go on and on about how the left will immediately start talking about assault rifles and banning certain weapons if the shooter doesn't fit a certain narrative, which is true. They always do that. If the shooter is quote unquote one of theirs, let's say, or falls into a certain category that they don't want to go after, then it's all about the guns. That's all true. But what does the right do? The fact that the shooter was transgender was the story. Of course, it's a relevant part of the story, but is it the key part? Is it the thing we should be focusing on in the seconds and the minutes and the hours after a shooting, when people are still being treated in a hospital? I find that gross. I find that predatory. I find that really disingenuous, and I find that the exactly kind of level of disgusting behavior that we resent in the other side. I also want to talk, though, about the media's role in all this, because every single mass shooting, we see exactly the same thing happen, and people completely ignore it. The fact is, there is a contagion theory. There's a lot of research out there that demonstrates that the media response to this kind of thing by making the shooter and not the victims the key part of the story, splashing their name and picture every single place you look, they are fueling this problem. They are making this problem more of a problem. They are encouraging this to happen. And we see it, conservative media, left-wing media, liberal media, independent media, everyone is doing this. Every single person is trying to uncover the next thing we didn't know about this disgusting person who we should never think about again. Do we know the names of the victims? Do we know the stories of heroes that day who defended their fellow congregants or children next to them? No, but we know every single thing possible about the shooter. That's the problem here. We've got people on both sides trying to make money, and that's what this is about. It is about clicks and attention and money. They're trying to get money out of this situation. It's terrible when people try and politicize it, but it's also terrible when people try and profit from it. Violence is horrifically a reality of the world we live in. But how we respond to it is completely up to us. We can come together as communities, and we can put politics aside for at least a day and stand alongside victims and support victims and not make it about ourselves. Or we can continue doing what we're doing, which is fueling the problem by making the shooters the hero, making the shooters the anti-hero, giving them every single thing they want, which is attention, notoriety, and making money out of it along the way. I think it's disgusting, but until that stops, and it stops across the board, nothing is going to change.